Hey everybody, welcome into Pro Football Ireland. We are live from Radio Row in New Orleans at Super Bowl 59. Michael McQuaid, Mark Hogan, Jason Hayes, delighted to be joined by the king of the city, Charlie Smyth. First off, Charlie, how are you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm great. It's great to be here, fellas. King of the city. I don't know about that.
We'll come back to you in 2 seconds, but lads, we're here. We are here at the Super Bowl. While I get the word out, Mark Hogan, what a day for the parish, lad. This is ridiculous. I remember watching the NFL in Belfast and University, watching Kevin Keatle, Neil Reynolds, Jeff Reinbold, Cecil Martin, to name a few, and we're actually sitting here in Media Row. We've got the world's media here. It's bananas. What's the crack? How are you doing?
Back-to-back years, Michael, as we said during the week. Proud to be here representing everyone back home. Look, we get a load of texts as well, and well-wishing, and people very jealous. We are so conscious, or certainly I am, of everyone back home that's obviously watching in and wishing that they would be here. So hopefully over the next few days we'll do everyone proud and get them the content that they deserve after Ireland has just blown up the NFL fandom over there.
Blowing up the NFL fandom in Ireland in one sentence is some way to start this podcast. How are you doing? Jason, what's the crack?
Very well. Good to be back. Second Super Bowl. And the city's amazing. Like I'm having enough fun on Radio Row, but I just want to get out there and see New Orleans as well, because the food, the jazz, great first impressions of the city, Mick.
And I'm trying to get the word out for people on the podcast listening back. A warm welcome. What's the crack? How are you doing? You're all very, very, very welcome to be here right now. Charlie, just starting with you, we've spoke to you for the last year or so about this. You never told us how mad this city was. Like, this city's absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
There's people going around dressed up doing like parades and all any time of the night. Like, it's great. It's a great city. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah, it's class. As I said to anybody who's asked me about New Orleans, I said it's kind of like its own country in the States. The culture is just very, very unique, and the jazz music, as you said, and the food, and it's just a very unique city, and it's been really enjoyable. Now I've been here this past year or so now, I suppose, maybe just short of a year now.
It's been good. Mark, do you feel a bit like I love how you're trying to tweet something at the same time?
I'm trying to get a link up to the YouTube. You're welcome. Yeah.
Talk to us about isn't it great to have Charlie here as well? Just a massive thanks, not just to yourself, Charlie, but to everybody that joined us last week on tour. Really, really appreciate it. Mark, it's been a good couple of weeks, and thank you for your help as well in Belfast and in Dungannon there last week. I'm joking. Jason's sitting right beside us as well, so it's grand.
No, it's massive. Yeah, just to reflect on what you're saying or whatever there. It is crazy to be out in New Orleans. It's great to have the host that is Charlie next to us as well. I told people back as far as November that they should have gone on a plane and come over for this, and there's no need to be jealous now of us when you've been told time and time again to get out here. Within 5 minutes of walking with you, Jason, you're like, I don't want this week to end. So what people are at home fearing that they're missing out on, I can guarantee you it is all coming true for us. So.
Do you feel like this has the potential, Mark, to be the best Super Bowl ever?
Yeah, and I don't want to get in trouble for this, but I said as far back as Vegas last year, I was more looking forward to coming to New Orleans just because of the stories. Next year's in San Francisco. Santa Clara is 45 minutes away, the stadium. The year after that's LA. They're kind of like nondescript, just massive American cities.
Warm.
Whereas there's so much. The people here, I have to say, and I'm going to keep on coming back to this, the people of New Orleans. Charlie, talk to me about it. They're just fantastic.
Yeah, like everybody is so friendly, and like the passion that these fans have for the Saints is just unbelievable. And like the Saints is the biggest market in New Orleans. Do you know what I mean? So like all these other big cities that are hosting the Super Bowl, they all have a lot of other things going on. And like, don't get me wrong, New Orleans does too, with Mardi Gras and other things like that. But whenever it comes to football and the Saints, like that's where the people of New Orleans really take their pride in, and it's really, really great to be a part of. And just before we go on, I'd say a big thank you to you for coming out, and it's great to be a part of this, for the next week or so. And I am just as buzzing as you are, fellas. I think people forget I'm an NFL fan as well,
Yeah, literally.
And sometimes you lose that perspective, like as a player now, I suppose. But now the fans coming out to me again here, I suppose.
Charlie, can I ask you about that? So, like, one of the things is we'll track who we've seen over the next week. Last year, I think The Rock was all our number one. I can't believe we got to see him. But when you're on the NFL sidelines,
Jason went to the toilet with The Rock last year. That's a whole different conversation.
I went for a slash. Turned to the side. Dwayne Johnson.
Jeez, what was that? What was that? There's a big behind this.
Ignored.
But we got to see him, so kind of ended the question. But you are obviously on the NFL sidelines, and you get to see these guys week in, week out. So you are going to see an awful lot of players. But is it different? You're still a fan of the players when you get to see them on the sideline.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, probably the highlight of the year in terms of that was obviously we were playing Dallas week 2, and that was I think that was the week that the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was announced. And I'm standing on the 50-yard line, and this was an absolute circus in the 50-yard line. Both kickers, Blake and Brandon Aubrey, we're just watching, even getting to watch Brandon Aubrey as well. It was just unbelievable. But both kickers were, both going out to kick their longer field goals. Next thing you know, I'm standing out in the 50-yard line. Mike Tyson comes within like 2 feet of me. I'm just sitting there, what's going on here? Tom Brady's was out in the field as well, and there's just this big circus of people. And I remember the Cowboys holder, Brian Anger. He just got in the middle of them all and just got in his holding stance in the middle of everybody, just to say, everybody get out of the road, like, what I mean? So then they ended up moving. Then Aubrey nailed a 60-yarder or something that time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
So
crazy. That was probably the highlight of the year now.
They don't give you a heads up that Mike Tyson's going to be on the sideline.
And then, actually another one as well. We played the Chiefs in week 5, and Hayball, our punter, was out, getting a few kicks in before the field goals, and obviously the punters need more field space, so he was in the Chiefs half of the field, and Mahomes and Juju started giving off to him about punting. It was the only time that happened all year of Mahomes and Juju trying to intimidate Hayball, but look, it was funny now. It was good out of cracking.
How funny are those like pre-game dynamics when you, like, you'd see it in multiple sports, but particularly when you're kind of on their territory and they're on your territory, there's a bit of a power battle there of the mind or something, is there?
Okay, no, there is a wee bit, like. It really depends on week to week in the team. Like some teams are like real sound. I remember we played the Browns in our stadium, and the same thing happened with Matt. Like, and James Winston was like, you do whatever you have to do. It's being really, really nice. And then Mahomes, that was it the way. Like, but yeah, look, it's crazy. It's just every team has got their own way of going about things, and I don't think Mahomes likes fascists. Maybe that might be, because remember with Tucker last year as well.
I'm conscious that a lot of people are watching this in Ireland and the UK. Look, you're all very, very welcome. A lot of people have sent in questions. We are going to get to the end of this broadcast, or in some people's idea, a podcast of this, and we will get to that. If you're watching live, do get into us. We will certainly give you a shout out, like Ron, who said, all right lads, Sean, well lads, and Charlie's wife says, not Charlie standing in the way of Mike Tyson. You couldn't write it. Great comment. Love it. We're live right now. Charlie, you're obviously an NFL fan, for as you said a second ago, but having the chance to walk around here, and for people that maybe don't get the full picture here, the world's media is here. We walk past McAfee's studio. Kay Adams is getting set up for tomorrow. It's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. Like, and I just got a text from Dark Harger who says Travis Hunter's in Chick-fil-A right outside the place. So it's all a bit... it's a bit mad. Imagine the GA done this, or like the Premier League or something done this, because I feel like you probably couldn't do that, but it's just bananas. I mean, you've literally just walked in there now, so what's your thoughts walking around here? Yeah,
well, the one thing that America does really, really well is obviously the growth of the NFL, and that's down to like marketing, so the fact that like they have organised this for all the media outlets to come together can only help the growth of the game, like, and it's crazy. Like, I was a big fan of McAfee's podcast from way back, like 2017-18, whenever he first started. I was sitting at home, like, watching it to, falling asleep to it, like, and it's now it's like he's just there, and then Kay Adams is there, and I would have been a big fan of Good Morning Football at the start when I first started watching as well, and just all these media outlets are here. It's crazy, and I'm sure as the week goes on, it's just going to get madder and madder with the amount of big names that are just going to come, especially towards the end of the week, I would say.
There's actually a few Saints players walking around as well, which is cool to see. I don't want to, because I know you've done a lot of live events, you've done it in so many podcasts, so I don't want to wreck your head here.
No, you're grand.
But for people listening that maybe haven't met you in the last week, and thanks for coming to those events in Belfast and Dublin as well, Charlie. It makes a massive difference to us. Who's the best crack in the locker room, for people wondering? Like, is Derek Carr good crack, or is
Derek Carr like the nicest guy ever? I would say probably the best crack would probably be Foster Moreau. He's our tight end. He's always just slagging everybody about anything. Kind of a bit like the crack at home, like, to be honest. You can't do anything, he'll just slag you like mad. Foster's good crack. Like, the D-line are just so loud. They're just right across from us, and the amount of silly arguments they have, but you want to hear the decibel, like it's stuff like, they're cheering on third down. It's crazy, like, just everybody's really, really sound, like, get on well with everybody, but I find it hard in group settings, because apparently in group settings I don't know how to slow down. And they're all like, bro, what are you saying? Like, I'm like, fellas, that joke's getting old now, you know what I mean? Like, it's been at least 6 months at the time at that stage. Like, they still don't understand me, but sure, look, we'll get there yet,
Is there a real brotherhood in the organisation? Like, obviously every team is a team and they're together, but do you find that regardless of what the record is come the end of the year, Is there a great vibe in that locker room? Because you were talking about going back in last night and seeing what it was like and stuff.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's like the Saints organisation is really well known for, is the fact that our owner really like cares about everybody in the city, and that stems down from just like a caring attitude from the owner right down from the GMs to the front office, back right down through the coaches, and everybody really looks after each other. Like I spent Thanksgiving at my assistant special teams coordinator's house, and I was offered to go to Rizzy's house as well. Like the fact that everybody is like so welcoming and want you to, they really care about you, even on Christmas as well. Like we were offered to go to Rizzy's house and stuff, and we went to his house after a few of the wins actually as well. And like
I'll tell the story almost. I was hanging out with
Charlie
Charlie in
I
November,
forgot about that, yeah.
and he gets a text saying, actually, I have to go, I can't invite you. And I was like, Rizzy is having the party. It's like you never hear these stories except from
crazy. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll ask you, because Michael says it's great that there's a brotherhood and the camaraderie, but you know that you can stay around in New Orleans. But is there a kind of like an almost like a sadness that some players aren't going to be back, and that's obviously known or whatever?
Yeah. Well, look, that's probably something I haven't experienced yet, because last year was my first part of being a part of any football team. So like it's the NFL. There's going to be turnover all the time, and the fact that we've got potentially could have new coaches coming in as well, there might be even more turnover. And obviously I know a lot of our coaches have gone on, like positional coaches have gone on to other teams already, so that's just the nature of the NFL. And it probably will be strange walking back in the locker room, come when the off-season workouts start again in the April time. But yeah, look, I haven't experienced that, but I'm sure it will be a weird sort of vibe. And even after the cuts after the pre-season, and knowing a lot of the guys, even a lot of the rookies that you had built really good relationships, weren't going to be offered back to the practice squad or whatever. And even during training camp here, and so good cut, you're like, oh, I really built a good friendship with him. Like it's ruthless. That doesn't happen in the GAA obviously, because it just doesn't happen.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's
yeah, exactly. GAA, like they stay in County Down, whereas all of a sudden you see he's gone to the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just the nature of the beast that it is the NFL. Like,
do you actively do anything to try and cope with that yourself? Just focus on what you're doing.
It's
be a lot of kind of
variables like it just puts things into perspective again. Like the fact that there is so much turnover, and even at our position, at the kicking position, there can be a lot of turnover as well. So it just puts things in perspective that, and Rizzy says this to us all the time. Like you cannot take the fact that for granted that you're in the NFL. And I remember, like before the Green Bay game, he gave us a good speech about the fact that if you were offered 15 years ago, as you were sitting on Christmas, if you were told that you'd be going to Lambeau Field on the 23rd of December 2024, how would you feel? And that really put things into perspective for me again, because obviously yes, it was a brilliant year, but you weren't playing on Sundays, so
yeah,
that's the ultimate goal. But the fact that you're still a part of a team, you just can't take that for granted. Like,
I mean, you didn't have to go back 15 years. You could just go back 2 years.
Yeah. I actually said it to him in pregame. I said to him, I goes, if you told me that 2 years ago, the fact because I'd never been part of a team.
13 months ago, but never mind 2 years ago.
Well, I first found out was it December of 23 that I was going to be part of the APP, and that's whenever I was like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like, it's just.
Yeah. Do you know, because harping on, it's like I don't want your opinion specifically of Rizzy or whatever, because it's difficult to talk about, but that is probably going to be your first time experience. That all signs are pointing towards Callum Moore being the head coach there, and it's like all of a sudden Rizzy, who would have been very close with you and would have been a great help, I'd imagine, he might end up somewhere else.
It is a possibility. Nobody knows what the story is. I don't know what the story is. Look, it's whatever it is. You just have to move on. But I've built such good relationships, and even for Riz, who's the one that brought me into the Saints, and obviously I was very raw. I wasn't at the NFL standard whenever I signed, and the fact that he saw that there was a bit of potential, and then the improvements kept coming in, working with an unbelievable, the best operation in the NFL was Zach Wood and Hayball Holding. It just allows you to get so much better. And the fact that they saw that wee bit of potential, it's I'll be forever grateful, to Riz and everybody in the front office and Phil as well. It's just been it's been class working with those guys.
Sounds like me when Michael McQuaid took a liking to me and got me on.
Well, just on that, there's some live comments. I want to read them out here, but just on that, it is an honour to be here. This is. I don't want to. I can't talk about the shit, but it's an honour.
None of us will put into words the feeling of sitting in this seat right now. each of us is feeling it, I'm sure. It's a weird sense of butterflies, and I can't believe it's real. You won't understand it through the camera, but just what you're thinking, it's crazy. It's true to life, I think.
We've a few comments. I want to shout them out. There's also comments that people have put in today, which is really, really good to see. And Michael didn't set up the media assets for this year at all. And Mark, I'm really sorry about that. It's all good. People on the podcast are going, what is this man talking about right now?
No, we don't have the
We're grand. We've got Trev who's come in. Well, boys, delighted and proud to see you there in Radio Row. Keep up the amazing work, my friends. And well done, Charles. Flying the flag very proudly, and I wish you very, very best in the future. Trev's a big Bills fan, so shout out to him. He's had a rough few weeks.
Yeah, well, thank you, Trev.
Sorry,
really
Trev.
can't comment.
Sean Quinn says Mark's getting more like Travis Kelce every day. Ron says Charlie, so this is from Ron. Charlie, what phrases have you shared with the team? Have you said like Baltic or like anything? Because there's
a wee bit. That's a big one. But no, every time, this is a true story. Every time I walk past Derek Carr, and it catches me off guard every time. So he's like, I tried to say what's the crack, but he ended up taking it as, he asked me, have you got any crack for me? Every single time I walk past him now, have you got any crack for me? You know, just like, what's the story, like, you know? And I'm like, the fact that an American's saying that to me, I don't know what to say, because it catches me off guard, the fact that Derek Carr saying this to me every time, and I kind of get all like, go a bit red and stuff, because the fact is, you know, it's him.
I must grab him here this week if we see him. Like, it's funny because like a lad, like this man, like this big guy, like maybe 50 or 60, went like good morning to me earlier on. And I was like, oh, it's crack, and he looked at me like,
I still say it's sometimes as well now, the fact that you're going back and forth from home to here, like you like. Some of the American phrases have come back home, like, you know, fries and ketchup now. I'm like, oh,
fries and ketchup.
One of my favourite moments.
Imagine walking to the Doctor saying, "Can I have some fries?"
My ones starts slagging me. I'm like, come on, like it's.
You did the reverse.
You forget,
of it.
Like,
you did the reverse of it on Friday night in Dublin, because I said it afterwards. It was I'm on holiday here, as the Americans say, vacation. It's like, I don't know why you said it.
I know. I was like, wait, hold on a second. Why did I say that? You know?
But Jer says, brilliant lads, despite the Cork jersey. Thanks very much for that, Jer. You're wearing this before Manga comes in, because Manga's in tomorrow, and you don't want to get in trouble for wearing it when he's here.
So yeah, we don't want to, you know, clash of outfits could get a bit embarrassing. So I said I'd get my Cork jersey in, because he'll probably be in.
Not a big fan of that.
Bright orange
he'll end up
for
just kicking with you for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that jersey broke my heart about 15 years ago now.
It's a long time.
2010.
I won't apologise for it. We're a bit deprived down south at the moment.
Jay's
watching. Here, we won't beat you yesterday though. There you go, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Look, there you go.
I'm happy now.
Jay Lawrence is watching from Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's
shout out Jay. We'll see you later.
See the crack later on. Here, so just starting, you know, we're actually here for a Super Bowl, believe it or not. If we start off and look at some things, and we'll do a little storyline first, we'll chat to Charlie a bit more, and then we'll get him off, because he's a man in demand apparently. With I thought that was a Hall of Famer for a second, by the way, just in case you're wondering, a guy in a beige coat.
I have no idea that
He's not a Hall of Famer anyway. Right, let's get the obvious storylines out of the way. So Charlie, I'm going to put you in the spot in a bit. Just you've got about 2 minutes to think about this.
Okay.
What is an obvious storyline that we need to get out of the way? I'm going to start off and talk about Saquon Barkley hitting the record. I done like an Instagram. So basically, Mark and Jason don't get up until like 10 o'clock, and I'm in here.
Oh my God, give me a break. We were up at 7 o'clock this morning.
And I came in here and done an Instagram graphic, but he needs like 40 yards or something to become the highest ever in the history of the NFL through the postseason. Now, yes, let's get that storyline out of the way.
Postseason, highest ever rushing
yards in the season.
This is only his second postseason.
Well, it's including the postseason, but the entire season as well. But yeah, and again, it's only a second postseason as well, which is actually mental as well to factor that in. I mean, the biggest thing that people are going to come out and say, and to be fair, I fully understand it, is that there's an extra game for a start. And for people that broke the records in the 60s and 70s, they were playing like 14 games as well.
Yeah.
One guy made, I don't know who it was, but one guy made a really good comment earlier on, and he hit the nail on the head. There's no point in me continuing this conversation. He could literally do it in the first play of the game on Sunday. He could go 30 or 40 yards and break the record. He's going to break the record. He should have been able to break the record properly against the Giants in Week 18. And I mean, I guess it worked out for them to an extent, resting them. But
he won't complain now, the way things have panned out.
Ask him Monday morning, or ask him
birthday
tonight.
on Sunday as well, I think.
Yeah, when you're talking about things about 15 years ago and stuff like this, what's he turning 27? Imagine like the mother, if you're thinking 27 years time, he's the second favourite for the MVP award in the Super Bowl. It's wild.
Best player in the league.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like, imagine ahead of the quarterback, it's like, that's how important he is. Like, they're saying he's banged the over every single time in the longest run. I think they've had to set it now that his longest run would be 40.5 yards. It's like, wait, 40? They think he'll tear off her. And everyone, who would doubt? Would you?
For me, that seems too low.
Yeah, literally. It's like I presume the four of us probably all agree.
Yeah.
It's like I presume at one point in this game he will get 40 yards in one run.
Yeah.
Right?
He probably did the first play. He did it the first
He
play of
could
the game.
do
in
it.
the
It
NFC
seems to be the
Championship.
first play of the game every game.
But this is, and it's something that we'll talk about, Charlie, whenever we, like, just us three bring it ourselves. There's so many different gaps, different elements to this game where you could see it going one way or another, so it's so interesting. Mark, what's your obvious?
Do you know what? I don't know if it's obvious now, but it's obvious after the game. This Eagles team, you cannot put a title on them right now, and it's this, a win or a loss shapes the narrative around this team almost unfairly. Like, if they were, look at what happened the last time. They lose that Super Bowl. Jonathan Gannon goes and everything that Shane Steichen went. The team had to rebuild. The friction that came last year when things weren't going their way, and just the strain that a loss put on the team. So if they were to lose, they're going to have to go through the grind all over again, and they're going to be in friction. You know, you never see teams that lost the Super Bowl go back 2 years in a row. So it's like, what is it from there? They have it so well set up now with Vic Fangio and having won the best defense or best defense in the league. But in terms of Sirianni himself, if you were a guy that wins a Super Bowl as a head coach, doors open for you for the next 5 or 10 years. Like, we saw it happen with Doug Peterson, that he got the job with Jacksonville. But if he lost and was fired, he's not going to get fired, but hypothetically say he was fired, no one's giving him a job. So it's like, these guys, this one game, despite his record over the last few years being absolutely insane, 48-20 since he came in, the Eagles have been in the Super Bowl 5 times in their history. Twice have been in the last 3 years under Sirianni, but we still have doubts that go hand in hand with him.
The Eagles, it's just like a strange.
It's so hard to pin them down, but it's almost unfair on them that they get such grief. They get grief like no other team, and part of that is that Sirianni.
It's the market they're in.
Well, it is, but it's also that Sirianni has a coaching style that suits the locker room only, but it doesn't help him in the media, and as a result, people are ready to hammer him like they did in 2023. But at the end of the day, it's 48-20. They just got absolutely destroyed the Commanders. And it's like, that'll all be forgotten by one game against the greatest player of his generation, Patrick Mahomes.
I remember. I think they lost the first game of the year this year, if I'm correct. Maybe
no,
it was
they
second.
beat the Packers in Brazil.
Oh, and it was the second game of the year they were beat, and then they came to us the week 3.
Start for them, like, it was
and
the first 4 weeks.
They reckon, like, if we beat them, that he was under trouble. He was in a bit of trouble. I remember that was the storyline that week. If the Eagles were beat, we were 10-0.
We said at the
start
of
the
this
Sirianni,
year.
they were talking about firing Sirianni. I was like, what is going on here? Like,
yeah, it's a fickle league, because we came into the year being like he's on the hot seat, because if he doesn't deliver and they have all this talent on the offense, well, they do have all the talent on the offense. They have gotten back to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a coin flip, but if they were to lose, we were just going to absolutely hammer Sirianni.
I think they had a really early bye week as well. I think it was week 5. They had their bye week.
It was really early.
I think after that, because they started off 2-2, and then they had the bye week, and then they came back and just won like 8 or 9 in the trial. I think it was. I think that done them the world of good. Like, just something must have clicked in those 2 weeks.
The thing is, like you say, if they lose, he'll get hammered. Even if they win, I'm not sure how much Nick Sirianni's the praise will land on him. You know, Saquon is the first.
They'll find a way to give
Vic
somebody
Fangio gets a lot of the
offensive
headlines. Kellen Moore, obviously, a hot name at the moment. I think Sirianni's kind of in a position where his coaching style means that he's just not going to earn that praise in the media that some other guys do.
But I think it's Eagles wide then. I know we're after zoning in on the Sirianni, but the Eagles, the doubts will come back up. It won't be the AJ Brown of the last couple of weeks reading the book. It'll be the AJ Brown of November that was sulking, and we'll remember the friction of the team. All will be well if they win, and all will be in a terrible position if they lose.
Before we get yours, Jason, Charlie, I have a couple of questions that I forgot to ask you. They're very quick fire, don't worry. I asked people, and I think it's something we're going to do every day this week, to try and get people involved. Give it a wee Google form in the morning, get people to fire stuff in. Some really good questions. Connor McSweeney asks, Charlie, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Go-to karaoke
song.
We had our in the
Up
rookies,
down.
you know, the rookie intros. Me and Hebball did ours together. We did Juicy by Notorious B.I.G. You know, here's these 2 foreign white guys coming in and rapping. Like.
Here, I tell you what, pack it up for the week.
Yeah.
That's us done there. That's us done. I mean, this is from me, but have you had fish yet? Are you a big fish man?
We had we did like a rookie crawfish boil. put on a brave face for a big crowd. But I haven't had crawfish since, but it wasn't too bad. Like, was it?
Not for you.
Something about seafood, the smell of it, like, I know that.
You literally live beside the water, lad, down there.
I know, but
Jesus. Right, there's a few Charlie-specific ones I want to get through very, very quickly. Michael and Armagh, who must be going to the Super Bowl. So, hey, Michael, what's the crack? Armagh, Jesus Christ. Is there
don't chat about Armagh.
Well, I can't say anything at the minute. Is there an Irish meetup on Saturday led by NOLA tour guide Charlie? Is that happening? What's that about?
I'll have no plans, like, so we're going to make it happen.
We'll be on the rip anyway.
Yeah.
So.
We should have thought about this. We could have ticketed it. We could have.
We've got time. We've got time. We've got 5 days.
150 quid.
The sign-up link will go out later on.
Yeah.
We should do that.
All funds go to the
the drink.
Yeah.
We should actually, like, I'm saying this out live in the podcast. We should go for a pint of water. Aquafina. Mark's sponsored by Levi's this week in case people are watching right now.
Pint of 0-0.
Pint of 0-0. We should actually go out for a bar. And just go for it. Dara's saying, good lad, Michael from Armagh. David Loughlin says, Charlie Smyth,
uncle.
you need to practice your darts.
That's my uncle, yeah.
I actually love internet. Mickey McVeigh saying Armagh and Eagles double. Let's see if we have any more for Charlie here.
What's the Armagh and the Eagles double here? Double check that for me.
Mark Moore in Kilkenny for Charlie if possible. Thanks, Mark. I'm joking. What's it like living in New Orleans? I think we came back to that already, but you're obviously enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it's unique. Suppose like there's good side of it, and then there's obviously a tougher side of like the fact that I don't have as many connections out here yet. Being year one, but it's great. It's been class. Again, very unique city, really warm weather. And yeah, it's been unreal. So and yeah, part of a great organisation, and I get the biggest thing, your hobby's your job,
Jason, get the obvious storyline out of the way.
I think the biggest one, I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned it already, but the history, Kansas City on for the three-peat. It's never been done before. Never even had the chance to do it because a team has never even made 3 Super Bowls in a row. But it is really just remarkable what that team is doing when you run through the statistics and the history that they're making. Patrick Mahomes, he's 29 years old. I'm 29. He makes me feel very unsuccessful. He's 29 years old and he has the second most playoff wins of all time. I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, literally.
I think his playoff record's like, is it 18-3 or
85%?
18-3 or something like that.
He's
is that right?
17 wins out of 20 games.
That's brutal.
85% win rate. You look at a guy like Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He was 14-27 for his career. Patrick Mahomes would have to lose
14-27.
14 wins out of 27
oh
games.
Sorry, yeah, I was going to, that's that'll be 27 27 seasons.
Like he wasn't that old.
He played a long time.
Mahomes would have to lose his next 15 playoff games to have the same percentage as Peyton Manning. So I think that kind of just puts it in perspective.
But Peyton Manning had a lovely man called Tom Brady in the same division.
But you know what? We're going to be talking about dynasty and all that goes along with it later on in the week, and we are supposed to be in an absolute golden era of quarterbacks
in the AFC.
And they cannot touch Mahomes in any of the games.
The four best quarterbacks in the league are in the NFC.
And they've all played against them, and only Joe Burrow was able to go and beat them. It's wild.
And like that's what I mean. Like people are saying that about Brady and Brady and Manning and whatever, but like
at the end of the day, he only had to
Joe
overcome
Burrow, Lamar Jackson had probably the best season of potentially regular season of any quarterback ever, maybe top 5 I'd imagine. Like touchdown to turnover and the running game with him. Josh Allen up for MVP. Joe Burrow's stats were ridiculous as well. And then Mahomes just turns up in the playoffs, playing average all year. Not playing average, but doing enough to win. And
but
then just in the playoffs.
This is the way to frame the game. It's the best player in the league versus the best roster in the league, and it really is down to. I would give this game in a heartbeat to the Eagles, except for Patrick Mahomes. You don't know what magic he's going to come out with.
Well, I think the most underrated thing about the Chiefs is their overall game. They play such good complementary football. I think their defense. People all talk about Mahomes and Kelsey, but their defense has come up clutch time and time again for them. And obviously people neglect this, but just come from my position, their special teams has just been unbelievable as well. The Chiefs punt return game has been unbelievable. Bucker just doesn't know how to miss in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's they just play such good complementary football, and people underestimate that. They say quarterbacks here and there, but whenever your team's not playing together all the time, then that's why the Chiefs are winning. That's why the Chiefs are winning, because all 3 phases just know what to do in the right time. They just come up with big plays time and time again.
Sounds like an onside kick to start the game again. By the
Oh, I can't do that anymore.
oh yeah, of course. Oh my god.
Declare it.
You can only declare it in the fourth quarter if you're losing.
It's going to be interesting to see, man, this week, just how it develops and the storylines develop. And shout out to Luka Doncic for ruining Patrick Mahomes' week storyline wise. But Charlie, before we let you go here, lad, just you're going to the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I feel like you're excited. Like, I think
I'm buzzing. Yeah. I mean, like you know me, like I'm very chill, but like. You know me, like I don't really think about like the future a whole lot, but like right now I am pretty buzzing. Like it's going to the Super Bowl, and
but you won't wish the week away though with all that's going on here.
No, definitely not. No,
we're open tonight in the stadium, which is really cool. We're actually heading down whenever we get this podcast up immediately after. Really, really excited for it. There's a really good vibe around the city for people.
Real quick one, if anyone has a serious question now for any of the players, we'll try and get one in because we have the opportunity. We have the player availability later on, so if I see a couple of comments, I'll try and get them in.
We will definitely try. Do you want to give away who you think's going to win now? If you had to pick it, so early. If you had to say,
we saved that one for Friday. Surely,
if you want, I don't mind. Like,
here we need it for it's not about you; it's about the viewers. We got to keep them for it.
I mean, I'm torn. I am torn, to be fair. But I'm sure everybody is.
Everyone's torn. Flip flopping like crazy. I think if you asked me this time yesterday, it was the Chiefs because I just have to give it to Mahomes. I love the fucking Eagles. Like,
so the Eagles' run game, their offensive line is unbelievable. The biggest matchup's going to be the Chiefs' run game defense against how Spagnuolo tries to stop the run. That's just going to be the biggest story.
Two of the best defensive coordinators of their generation. Someone that has shaped how obviously defense plays in Big Fangio versus Steve Spagnuolo.
It's crazy how he's not a head coach unless he doesn't want to be Spagnuolo.
But this is the thing. Obviously, he had a poor record as a head coach years and years ago, and it's like, isn't it crazy? And this is where I don't want to trip over ourselves, but I'm going to talk about this. The consistency. We've just talked about how Philadelphia is going to lose Kellen Moore, and there's always moving pieces for the loser of the Super Bowl, whereas the Chiefs get to be like, Spagnuolo's coming back. We're having Andy Reid's offense.
Yeah.
They don't have to go through the same adversity in that sense that other teams do because Spag's going to stick around.
And even beyond Spags, like even positional coach level, they're just so stable. If you look at their coaching situation, it's just
because
they're, you know what, it's probably because their coaches have a lot of experience and they're like, because whereas a lot of coaches are younger, and the positional coaches are younger and they're like very ambitious. They want to go on and become head coaches themselves. And they're constantly trying to climb the ladder, whereas it just seems that the Chiefs coaches are happy at where they're at, and I think they love winning.
It's the Belichick thing as well, though, that any of Belichick's coordinators or coaches went off and didn't have success, and I think everyone now, like obviously Eric Bieniemy was the big one, that it's Andy Reid, so Eric Bieniemy never needs to be a head coach because we know that it's all Andy Reid. So it's like I think they get the benefit there, the bounce of the ball goes their way because they're like, people don't want to poach the coaches because they're like, we could be left with a bad one.
There's one final question before we let you go, just yourself, Charlie. Chris Gordy saying, has Charlie ever been to the Irish Channel in New Orleans? It's a historic area of the city.
I have been told about it, but I haven't got there yet.
Should we head there tonight?
We got told about it this morning. We said it is the spot for
soda bread.
For Paddy's Day, and here's me releasing the best pubs, or some of the best Guinness, and I only heard about it today with someone taking a picture of us.
Shout out to Martin from Ryan's Bar. We know you're watching, Martin. Martin made this week happen. Half this stuff's been posted to an Irish bar and it's in the middle of Ryan's best.
I'm not going to say the best Guinness in New Orleans. The best Guinness that I have had in New Orleans is in Ryan's Pub, and that is not a lie. People have asked me, is this some did you get paid to do that? No, Ryan's Pub has a great Guinness as far as an American one goes, in my opinion. So it was not paid for.
Guinness is very, very controversial. Charlie, we really appreciate it. I know you're going to come back later on in the week and we're going to maybe talk at length about something else, hopefully, please Jesus. But for now, we're going to be back in 2 wee seconds. But Charlie, thank you very much for coming with us here this evening. I'm not awake. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon this evening. What are we talking about?
We're talking Irish time here. But still, I have not changed my watch. It's 21:32.
You haven't changed your watch. Looking forward to you're heading over to Open Night later on. I think with us, so you're more than welcome.
Let's go.
Love to have you here, man. And for everyone watching, we'll have you back in a wee second. But for now, Charlie Smyth. Hop, hop, hop.
Hop, hop, hop.
Hop, 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 hop. We're back. We don't even care. We're back. It's grand. Mark's is chatting something. No bar. Jason, we're back. What's the crack? How you doing? We're
very
back.
well. I'm still doing very well.
We are live right
as
now.
I was 2 minutes ago.
Live on Radio Row. And shout out to my wife who's WhatsApping me right now and doesn't know I'm live. I think she does know, to be fair. But we're all very, very welcome. And we're all very, very welcome. Shows you how awake I am right now, lads. Lads, can I just say publicly, because we're sort of in the let's just talk and have a bit of crack zone here very quickly. Lads, I flew in here and I'm usually quite good with air travel. Jason has, Mark Hogan. I'm wrecked, boys. I'm broken, man. I don't know what's happened. I just feel like
you were sleeping half 8 last night.
I went to bed at 8:30 last night, 9:15 last night. I don't know, but it's great, isn't it great? You know, let's just start off again. You know, Mark, to be Ireland's only outlet in Radio Row, it's pretty special, man, and it really, really does mean an awful lot. It really does. Like, it's. I don't want to get emotional.
No, it is. And as I answer, you can put up our frame, please, because we're looking a bit strange in the podcast there. No, it is special, and it's like it's so hard to describe, and like I don't want to keep on beating a broken record here, but like we are so lucky, and I've gotten so many texts, whatever, off people wishing us well and stuff. And it's like it's not lost on us. We're extremely excited. We're doing it for you. Like, it's the support, and that's what we try and reflect when we're at the shows during last week. It's like, yeah, we're the ones that are lucky enough to be in the seats. It could be any single one of you guys. So it's like, appreciate the position that you guys have put us in.
Can I just say very quickly, I don't get the whole hype of a Gatorade, Jason. Like, what is going on? It's not great.
It's
useless.
They pay the bills. We're sponsored by them, so
yeah, so
front and centre.
I should say we are.
Get rid of that again. It's going to clog up my table.
Proudly here, we are presented by 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the NFL in Ireland and the UK. Super Bowl 59, 11:30 p.m. Sunday Irish time. We will all be there inside the stadium, so stay tuned for a really culty looking photo. And we talked already about the whole fact that there are so many different storylines that we wanted to get out of the way. We do want to talk about two different factors today, and then we're going to get some viewer questions, and we're going to be out of here by about 10 o'clock because we're going, or around now, because we're going to opening night. So first off, before we start off, Mark, what's the one thing you're looking forward to in opening night? Now, for people listening, I will certainly aim to have some sort of mini podcast or something in people's ears by Tuesday morning. It depends if my body keeps me awake or not. What's your thoughts?
What I'm looking forward to is I want to get a quote from Travis Kelce, something Ireland related, that will play on radio.
Like Smith thing, yeah.
That will play on radio over the next few days. So the diehards of this podcast, you guys can have a laugh when you hear it being played out on Dave Moore in a couple of days' time or whatever. There is a behind the scenes of this, and it just make me laugh that we come all the way and we got to get a Travis Kelce quote about Ireland because of his girlfriend or whatever.
Well, it's funny, Jason, because literally like I was saying to a couple of the people in the UK media, and I do want to shout out our friends over at TalkSport who are beside us. They've brought a packet of beans.
I am dying to know what that means. That is a pro football Ireland kind of level shtick. That normally we bring something funny that people are wondering about, but we did not bring Heinz baked beans this year, and they're up to some no good.
A good set of guys there. Hopefully we're going to have Will on at some point this week as well, which should be fun. Should be interesting. Mr. Hayes, are you excited for opening night? I'm excited to see Scott Hansen.
Very excited. Is Scott going to be there?
Scott presents it. Scott is hottie.
Yeah, no, it's great crack last year. I mean, just so people know how it works. Each team has a goal. They have an hour each, and 11 players will be up on the podium, and the whole rest of the roster will be down on the floor, just walking around amongst the media. So it's really those guys on the floor who I'm most excited to talk to, because it's just quite surreal. You're walking around and you're just brushing against the likes of Jalen Carter, and we talked about the amount of star power on the Eagles roster, so I think their roster in particular lines up so that you're going to see some really big names just walking around on the ground amongst us, which is pretty bonkers.
Lisa says, please say the other thing you will discuss is a game in Ireland. Don't know, we'll see. Andrew says, where are the chips and tea bags, lads? Props to Andrew for his help last week. We got Barry's tea somewhere over there.
You cannot
it's not
see.
in the camera,
you
but we have
cannot
got Barry's
see.
tea. We've got Barry's tea, and actually I like this setup here because it's actually
There's
quite
no
good for the
way
camera.
to view, so it's like we would be lost without having some Tato reference on the table.
Mark
so
Hogan had an opportunity to buy Tato in Dublin Airport and flaked at the last moment.
You also had an opportunity to buy Tato in Dublin Airport because you were there the exact same time as me, and I could not fit into my bag.
WH Smith in the pre-clearance wasn't open. So let's jump into the game, lads. We are obviously days out from the Super Bowl. Really excited for opening night tonight. Jason, The winning of this game on Sunday will be what, do you think? How will this game be won?
Well, you referenced it, Mick, as a storyline. Saquon Barkley and can Kansas City slow him down? I think that's where the game will ultimately be won. If you go back to the last Super Bowl between these two guys, same question was asked. Philadelphia was a formidable rushing attack that year as well, with Miles Sanders leading the charge. But it's just a different level this year. Saquon is a record-breaking back, and it's not even just in the running game, that everyone talks about. He's also doing some very nice things in pass protection at the moment as well, which is going to be key when you have the likes of Chris Jones rushing through at Jalen Hurts. So I think how Kansas City deals with Saquon in particular, it's an obvious storyline, but I think it will really determine the outcome of this game. And if you want to look at the Chiefs and how they perform in that regard, on the season, they've been top 10, very good team against the run in general. But I'd be concerned based on that championship game with how they coped with James Cooks. 13 carries, he had 85 yards, and it seemed like Kansas City couldn't stop him. The Bills coaching staff are the guys who ultimately stopped Cook doing any more damage.
Yeah, what a point. What a thing to say. Beat themselves.
If they'll naturally need to clean a few things up. If there's a guy who can do it, it's Spagnuolo, because time after time again, when you think a team has a strength, he does everything within his power to take that away. And so that's what I'll be looking out for this week.
Two of the three most important pieces for the Chiefs are on the sideline. It's what Andy Reid is going to cook up, and that's why it's so hard to be able to, put something on this Chiefs team, because they have three X factors, and it is Andy Reid, it is Spags, and it is Patrick Mahomes, and that X factor, like, one of them is surely going to hit, and that's why I would say it's an Eagles game hand down. It's like we just saw the Chiefs were so hard to beat this year.
It's one of those things for me, whenever I look at this game and I ask myself, exactly how this game can be won for Kansas City, it's not about running the ball, because we know how good the Eagles defense is going to be whenever they're actually running the ball. For me, it's getting the ball out quickly and actually passing the ball quickly. If you look at the Chiefs, they've really got a large history of using pre-snap motion. They're 7th in the league, but Mahomes' strategy usually involves not a slow snap, but getting the ball out quickly and making the decision very, very quickly. One thing that Mahomes is so good at is actually realizing what his area for passing or what his area for running is like. He can see it, I feel, before any other quarterback in the league, and he can make magic happen. He made magic happen 2 years ago when some of those guys that were on the team where they beat the Eagles and put up 38 points on the board. Let's remember some of the guys that were on that. Go and look at the roster. Sky Moore was on. Is he playing on Sunday?
To be determined.
Yeah, exactly, right? He doesn't exactly have the most stacked roster in terms of raw talent, especially young players. But Mahomes can get the ball out in under 2 seconds to tight ends, running backs, but more so the wide receiver core, and it's how we're going to look at it, is so important to this, because Philadelphia's defense in the playoffs have only given up around 18 points per game, and they've only given up 3 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions. They have sacked the quarterback 10 times.
But Michael, why is he getting the ball out fast?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, why?
Because it can be snap fast.
Because why?
Because it can be snapped fast by the center.
No, why is Mahomes throwing the ball so fast?
Because he's unbelievable.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's the
offense.
offense.
He's unbelievable.
No, but that's not why he's getting the ball out fast. Like, the reason he's getting the ball out fast is we were used to long developing plays with Patrick Mahomes that the ball is going 40, 50 yards down the field. So that's why he holds on to the ball more. When you talk about that stat about him getting the ball out fast, it's because now they're trying to get guys in motion. There might be a screen pass, and it's like they need to get the ball into the guy's hands, and then they're taking off with it. It's like it's since the last few weeks, that's how the adjustment to the offense, and it is something I'll talk about more later on in the week with the efficiency of the Chiefs' offense. But it's that Patrick Mahomes is also doing it because it's a sure thing, because they don't have that. And it's like it is a more conservative offense, but it is working. It is not that explosive offense. And that is when people say that stat of him getting the ball out fast, it is more to that. That is the style of the offense that they're doing, that he has to get the ball out fast, because that's how you get it into it's the shallower passes. It's that they're going for Patrick Mahomes. They have the shortest depth of catch in the NFL, have the Chiefs. It's at 6.2 yards. So they have a completely different offense from someone that's going for 10 yards down the field. So that's why he has to get it out so fast.
There was 2 opportunities against the Bills where they snapped the ball, and it was Von Miller and there was somebody else on the other side where they were literally sprinting towards him. There was no protection, and he still got it out and somehow got it down the field. I think it was the third quarter, 20 yards. I agree with what you're saying completely, but there's times where he can just find a way where other quarterbacks can't.
Pass protection is a big part of why they're running these quick plays.
Exactly, because they don't want him getting...
When's the last time you have a team in the Super Bowl and there's still question marks about who they're going to start at left tackle this week? I mean, it's just bizarre. Left tackle is one of the most important positions on the field, and the Chiefs are so good at what they do, but in that key position there's question marks there. Will DJ Humphrey step in? I don't think they will bring him in ultimately, because why change it? But when you got a guy like...
But when Joe Tooney is having to mix around, he's not playing in his best position because they're trying to fill a hole.
It's still making it work.
But this is how they're making it work. They're having a quicker offense so that the pressure doesn't get to Mahomes quick. Now, everyone knows not to blitz Mahomes, but this is why they're making it quicker and getting the ball out of his hands, because if you leave it in the hands too much, it's like that's where... And it's like, I'll let you finish your point, but it's something that I'm going to talk about in a second, is the defensive backs for Philadelphia. It's massive that they, stop... This is the problem with the Chiefs, right? The Eagles will contain, but if it's a death by 1,000 cuts. That's the point of the Chiefs right now.
It's like a defense could try 999 things, and Mahomes will find out 1 out of 1,000 opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the only thing I was going to say is Xavier Worthy is key in this game, because if you're looking up an Eagles defense which has only led about 18 or 19 points, the reality is 2 years ago it was 38 points, won the Super Bowl. They're going to have to get over 32, 33, 34 points in this game to stand a chance down the stretch, especially when we know how potent that Eagles offense is with Saquon. There's no doubt in my mind that Xavier Worthy is as much as, if not a bigger threat in this game to the Eagles than Travis Kelce, because there's been times this season, yes, Kelce's got I think 2 touchdowns over 100 yards in 2 games, but Worthy's been more open, especially in that second half of the season for Mahomes. So I just wonder, when you got Hollywood Brown and you got Juju and you've got I lose my mind, who's the other guy they brought in? DeAndre Hopkins, who has not been effective across the whole on average across the entire season. It's either going to be a situation where Mahomes completely turns it on to these guys, right?
Here, DeAndre Hopkins had 11 snaps in the Bills game. I'm like... 11.
It came out of where, during the season.
That'll hurt him as well. He's wanted his whole career
so
to play for a Super Bowl team.
I'm not saying that they buried him so that they have an X factor going into the game, but I'm like, that screams DeAndre Hopkins massive out. He's the guy that this year has the blow up game out of nowhere. It's like, wait, DeAndre Hopkins is the one that has to have that.
But it's so unpredictable. It's just that's why. If you're the Eagles defense, you just don't you know that you need to expect a quick offense, but it's who do you cover? Who do you double team? It's so difficult.
But who do you double team? You don't. And let me pick it up, right? So I was thinking about the defensive backs for the Eagles is so important. Vic Fangio is a guy that will be generational in terms of the defense that he's had in the NFL. When these teams last met, they had a serious pass rush under Jonathan Gannon. They obviously set the most sacks in a season. They obviously went to Sean Desai last year, and then they got Vic Fangio, who was supposed to limit explosive plays, and that's exactly what they've done this year. But Patrick Mahomes, as for the reasons I've said, essentially negates that because he's getting the ball out fast. So they're not going for the explosive plays, so that's not what you want to really see. But it's the talent that the Philadelphia Eagles have. I said it when Charlie was on earlier on. It's the most talentful roster that we have in the NFL, and the defense has been absolutely lights out. Obviously, whatever metric you look, they're either 1, 2 or 3rd in it because they're doing unreal. But it's Darius Slay has been phenomenal this year, right?
Unbelievable.
Darius Slay
34.
will not be around next year because of his age and his contract, but because the pressure that the 2 rookies that they got this year, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, we probably should decide who. Yeah, he is. We should probably decide our finale, because depending on the podcast, it's DeJean or DeJean. Maybe I'll hear it from later on. So they're so good that they know that Bradbury, who was injured at the start of the year, Bradbury and Darius Slay, who had been the cornerbacks coming into the year, they'll be gone because Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are so good. So what I'm saying is, you essentially have 3 number 1 corners for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Obviously playing with a massive amount of confidence. Quinyon Mitchell is coming off literally his best game against the Commanders, and Cooper DeJean is someone that the Commanders were targeting early, and he was giving up none of those yak yards that I was talking about. It's like, obviously catches were given up, but it's like, again, where'd you go? But then it's like the matchup. So it's like when you talk Derek Stingley for the Houston Texans, just completely got rid of one side of the field. It was DeAndre Hopkins on the day, but obviously that wasn't the case last week. It's like you were able to match these guys up. I've said it a few times this year when you talk about the man coverage that the Eagles got. They say, just beat us. We are so talented, just beat us. So it's like, where you're going to have Dejean on Xavier Worthy from the slot. So the speed aspect is obviously there, but it's going to be a contain. It's going to be that fast defense. So it's like, in terms of success rate and everything, it's just keeping them behind. Like, don't be giving up those chunks. Yeah. Don't be giving up those whatever, death by 1,000 cuts. What I do want to see from the Philadelphia Eagles is they haven't gone against two speed guys this year. They haven't hardly gone against a speed guy. I looked at Jamar Chase and what they tried to do with him. Jamar Chase had a very average day. I think he only had 56 yards, but it was on something like 9 carries. It was his lowest average catch of the year at 6. So the Eagles can defend against one, but I wonder, that's one thing that they haven't seen yet, is that speed. But again, we've just said the Chiefs haven't been taking advantage of that. And then of course it comes down to Travis Kelce. Reed Blankenship gave up some receptions to Zach Ertz last week, but I just think the talent throughout the team just matches up so well. Like, if you were to draft player by player, they have so much talent there. But then it's the X factor of what Mahomes sees, because he's just so smart with what he sees.
Let's I think we could. The funny thing is, a lot of people wanted Buffalo Detroit, but there's so many things we can talk about here. Mm-hmm. Just generally. Let's jump into our final topic. I do want to get questions underway because we need to go to the Superdome, baby.
Yeah.
Not the Silverdome, as Hulk Hogan called it. Back in, do you remember that? Hulk Hogan came out in WrestleMania here about 10 years ago. It was like, it's great to be back in the Silverdome. Silverdome was in Detroit. It was
shower of booze, and he was just completely bewildered. Why did they boo me?
So, what has been either team's biggest development this year? Jason, what have you got?
So, Mark touched on a lot of it there. For that, it is the roster that they have.
Mitchell and Dejean coming in hitting on those draft picks.
More specifically, it's the draft picks.
Exactly. Yeah,
okay. Howie Roseman hasn't been known for being a draft wizard in his time. He gets a lot of plaudits for what he does in the trade and free agency market. But really, it's the draft class of the last 2 years that has really separated the Eagles and what they're doing now. You've got the 2 cornerbacks this year who they were the first 2 picks in 2024. If you want to go back to 2023, they had, of course, Jalen Carter, who was the most obvious pick of all time for that situation, and also Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith's a guy who's really shown up in this postseason. 4.5 sacks. No one else has more. And he's really benefiting from that combination of Jalen Carter gaining some of those 2v1 matchups. So really, it's those 4 guys I think are so critical. You could talk about the linebackers as well. Zach Bond, all pro.
But
came out of absolutely nowhere.
It's the Philadelphia Bulldogs thing. It's all the Georgia Bulldogs that they went and drafted in 2022 and 2023. Whether it's Nakobe Dean or Nolan Smith or Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter, they drafted 5 guys. 4 of them became from Georgia, and 4 of them became like proper elite starters. Like, it's wild.
Their top 2 picks from the last 2 drafts basically is what.
And also the Vic Fangio defense itself, like they didn't rob him. He obviously moved from Miami, but it's not like he was a free agent. He wanted to move back to Philadelphia, and it's like, hold on a second, just like that you're able to lure one of the best defensive minds of the last how many years in. It's like, that's incredible.
You're going to look at the Chiefs' efficiency in offense?
It's kind of something that you've been talking about, and it's like 29th in DVOA basically it's explosion, isn't it? That's what it measures, really. 23 there, and like I was saying there, because I kind of was touching on it, 6.3 yards per catch from Mahomes ranks 33rd out of the 36 quarterbacks that played the qualifying number of snaps this year. That's what I'm talking about in terms of the conservative. But that's not bad. Like, not going for the 40, 50, 60 yards isn't a bad thing. I don't want to go through it all again, the O-line and everything that we went through. We kind of were after touching on it. But I will give an example. The Lions, Ravens, Bengals, Buccaneers and Bills are all top 5 in offensive success rate. The Chiefs are 22nd since week 12. This is the offensive success rate is on first down you have to pick up 60% of the yards, on third down or second down at 70%. They're so bad in offensive success rate that it all comes down to 3rd and 4th downs and Mahomes magic. That's just it. It's all on Mahomes, and it's his efficiency. He's not given when he's throwing balls. He's so smart. he's giving the, how do I phrase it, the narrowest in terms of he's given the widest window. He doesn't take on those closely contested catches because he's able to read the field so well that he always is able to find his open man, and that's the Mahomes man. And it's like you can quantify it in terms of the window that he throws the ball into. And then we also have to say, and we'll probably talk about it later on in the week, the scrambling against the Bills, the moments that he chose. We know he doesn't, and this is something that I'm kind of like tracking. I wonder, do we take the over? I don't know what the over is in terms of his rushing yards, but do we take the over for Mahomes? Because it's like, we know he doesn't scramble ever since, was it Arizona he got injured against? I think it was.
He was injured throughout that playoffs. It was the last game against the Eagles. Remember, he had an ankle injury throughout the
QB sneak that he got injured on, I think it was like back in 2021. They've never run a quarterback sneak ever again because we don't want to injure him. But it's like, this is the Super Bowl. It's like, do they put that back onto the offense?
But in Super Bowl 57, we're probably going to reference the last time these two teams met in the Super Bowl multiple times this week.
Yeah.
But there was one play in particular where he was on a bum ankle. He wasn't rushing at all game. But there was a third down. They had to have it. Super Bowl on the line, and he just stormed through with what I'm sure was a very painful 10-yard run. So
288 yards or 288 passes attempts since his last interception as well. Like, he knows where to keep the ball. And it's like, it was obviously, we talked about it, so I don't want to harp on, but it was that Week 11 game against the Bills. His last throw was an interception there, and ever since, that's why I picked the Week 12 onwards in terms of the offensive success rate. It's because they realised what was going wrong, and they just made a more conservative offense.
Credit to the play design as well. They used a lot of misdirection. For example, the crucial had to get it P-Ryan pass in the championship game. Sometimes it might look like a player is well short of the sticks, or maybe they're open, but it's not. It doesn't look like a big opportunity. But the way they have the routes planned and the way people move around the field, those misdirection type plays, they got Eagles with it in the last Super Bowl twice. Someone can catch the ball 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but the way they have the defense moving at the back end means that they'll be able to win that sprint to the line. You
would surely think that because of Vic Fangio's defense, Jonathan Gannon, obviously, because it was just built him so up front and getting the pressure on Mahomes, he's able to escape the pressure. I cannot imagine a game where the Eagles give up 38 points. Like Eagles fans hate Jonathan Gannon because it was the defense's fault that the Eagles lost that last game, and it has been changed since.
There was not to correct you, but there was defensive touchdown in that game, and there was a punt return to the 2-yard line. So I think that is forgotten.
Yeah.
In that game, there was 14 points that were pretty much.
Philly fans never forget it, Anaheim, man. Philly fans never forget it, Anaheim. They always find something.
They need that driving force to use it.
I do want to get questions in here, but I'll just give mine. Right, I've actually got two elements. First off, it's the continuing leadership in this team. The Chiefs.
Which team? The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. And sorry, if you think back 2 years ago when that game in Phoenix was sitting in the end zone, and I remember Jalen Hurts had one play to save the season at the end of the game, and just it was like the air was out of a balloon because the Chiefs fans had just took over the stadium. And I know it's Monday. I don't see the same desire, the same fandom from this Chiefs team. But what I do see is continuation of leadership, continuation of keeping people going in the sense of you need leaders, you need that difference maker in your team. The biggest thing the Chiefs done this offseason was keep Chris Jones, sign Travis Kelce to an extension, but also on the other hand of that, extend their wide receiver core. They obviously go for DeAndre Hopkins, they got Marquise Brown. Xavier Worthy was obviously the standout one for them in the first round. They know what they needed to do to try and get over the line again. I certainly don't feel that they're at the level that they were 2 years ago, or even not 2 years ago, even where they were in Miami pre-COVID with what they had. But they know what they're doing, and I think the most crucial thing for the Hunt family, for Andy Reid, is they know what they need to get by in terms of they've got an absolute phenom at quarterback. They've got some fantastic standout performers in the defense. They drafted George Karlaftis 2 years ago, and look at the way he's played even in the postseason. They make it happen, and for me that's the biggest one.
And when you say, Michael, about they're not the same team, I'll read out that again. Since week 12, the offensive success rate, the Lions, Ravens, Bengals, Buccaneers and Bills are top 5. When you look at those teams, essentially that is down to down, are you moving the ball? Those teams are able to move the ball down to down to down, and they are able to move up the field. the Chiefs are just able to do it on late downs, on third and fourth down. So look, I'll be honest, the week 12 thing, those teams were the top 6 before that, but the Cardinals snuck in there before, which is kind of why I was like, I don't want to. But because those, when we say that again, the Lions, Ravens, Bengals, Buccaneers, Bills, we know that they were explosive offenses. Whereas the Chiefs, because we don't see them as explosive anymore, we kind of say, oh, they're not at the same level. But again, is that the losing of a Super Bowl? I don't think so, because they're still able to pick up. Like, they've won so many games. It's not like they snuck into the Super Bowl.
And
time will tell.
It's like, don't get it wrong, it is still a very good offensive unit. Like,
yes.
last year, I'm taking this year's Chiefs offense 10 times out of 10 versus last year's Chiefs offense. Like, they haven't got that explosiveness back, but
they don't need it.
They do know how to
They
get
found
it
a different way to win.
Yeah.
Let's we've actually got a number of questions. So thanks to everyone, and this is one thing we wanted to improve on this year, because it's manic. We're really enjoying ourselves, but it's very, very manic.
And this is the non-manic day, so I hope that, and we will absolutely try our best.
I actually think today is the most manic day, because you go open at night here. Like, we're out the whole evening. Tomorrow's not like that. I think today's the most manic. Right, so we asked people to put their name and where they're from. This person didn't put anything, and just the question for each of the lads. Name one thing this week during the build-up you're most looking forward to in New Orleans. Do ye Calvin man there plan on attending any of the preview shows? Preview shows, like
these shows around here, maybe is what they're talking about.
I'm gonna go up. I think McAfee is in the Wednesday. I'm gonna go up and annoy him. Hop.
There is also, we're going to try and get
Open
down to it. Maybe this question is, Heed the Call has a live show on Thursday. I think we're going to go along to that.
It depends what the how.
Look, we're fans as well, as Charlie keeps on saying. It's like, when we get the chance to see these guys, it's absolutely amazing. So I mean, if that's the question that's been put forward to us, absolutely.
Jason, anything you want to look forward to this week?
Yeah, look forward in general, just the chaos of Radio Row, and who the hell am I going to bump into this year? Last year it was taking a leak next to The Rock. So we'll see what happens this year.
I'm enjoying Charlie being treated like a New Orleans celebrity over here with New Orleans football. Right, we got Shane Langton. Thanks, Shane, for him and his mates coming to the event in Dublin there on Friday night. Appreciate your support, man. Up the Packers, eh?
We haven't got it confirmed.
What do you think will be the deciding factor in the Super Bowl matchup between the Eagles and Chiefs? Will it come down to quarterback play, defenses, or something else? Let's just give.
Well, we've given that in terms of different ways. I think it's the defensive back units having to.
Shout out, Shane. Do you appreciate you, man? Luke O'Mahony from Kerry was at the NFL night in Killarney. Hope to come back again. Luke, I'm telling you straight up right now, if he's up for it, I'm going to fly Reynolds from Stansted to Kerry, and we're going to do it in August. Neil Reynolds and Kerry. Neil Reynolds and Kerry. Kerry. Would the Chiefs right now be comparable to Dublin's 6-0 win the football, or is there a genuine chance that more teams could compete at the Chiefs level in the near future? If you were to compare the two finalists, the GEA teams, what team would they be? What a question. I don't think they're comparable, because I think that Dublin team was completely immortal at one point. I hated them. There
was a lack of competitiveness in terms of certain teams in the GA that existed.
It went flat.
Yeah. Like, it took, and I mean, it's the same with the Hurl and Limerick were just like, it was exciting as a sport, but no one could beat Limerick. Do I see that with Kansas City? No, because the league is so competitive.
It's the nature of the NFL.
The achievement is as massive as that, but the league is really competitive, so that's extremely impressive that they're able to find ways to beat these teams.
There's a reason this is the first time a team has made it to 3 Super Bowls in a row. And the Chiefs have got there marginally. Like, no team has ever won more one-score games, so it's not like they're blowing teams out the water, which is something that you did see a lot with that Dublin team, unfortunately.
Right,
I think coming into the question there about if there was two comparable teams, I think kind of when you say Armagh getting to the final last year, they weren't a number one team, but they were well fancied earlier on in the year. I think, are they kind of like they went into the season like Armagh, that they're one of the top
people watching this right now. Rather saying them more. Right, let's. I want to try and get through every one of these. Owen and Clark. Who are your picks for a surprise Super Bowl MVP and why? The only criteria is you're not allowed to pick either quarterback or Saquon. Give me Darius.
We are doing this. We will have a Chiefs-specific show coming up, and we'll have a Philadelphia-specific show coming up, and we've also eliminated the quarterbacks and Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, we can save it for those shows if you want to do that.
If you can remember that, that's fine. Shout out there. Appreciate you, Owen, very much. Mark Moore and Kilkenny. Give that in. Mark McCaughey and Armagh. Am I the only one who's looking forward to hearing Kendrick Lamar at halftime instead of the game? Good one, Mark.
Derek Carragher is the one for us that is our knowledge on Kendrick Lamar.
I feel old standing next
and
to
he
Dara,
swears that Kendrick Lamar is cool enough that he will not play to the casual fan.
I know Kendrick's music. I just don't think he's Super Bowl halftime, or simple as
Dara thinks that Kendrick is cool enough that he will not just play to the casual fan. He will play to his hardcore base and eliminate songs like Alright that he did the Eminem. Yeah. That'll be cool. That'll be cool.
No, like
we were saying he doesn't potentially have the wealth to, because the Super Bowl halftime performers have to pay for it all themselves, and we're saying like Rihanna a couple of years ago, she's a billionaire, she has a mad stage. Usher last year, he didn't have anything too impressive. I don't think he invested too much. I don't know if Kendrick Lamar has the net worth that he can go wild on a set, so it might be kind of toned down a bit.
Okay, do you give an answer? Yeah. No.
Yeah. What's the question?
You excited for Kendrick? Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's not really my style. I'm excited to see a bit of jazz in the
Honda
city this
50
week.
man? My little Honda 50.
I'll embrace it.
She's rapping and she's nifty. Jamie in Scotland, we answered your question, but thank you very much. Fire another one tomorrow if you want. Mickey Brady and Nuri, you boys live in the dream. Great to see it. Question is, does Jalen Hurts have to have the performance of his life to stop the Chief three-peat, or can the Eagles win the defense and run safe one? I feel like we've answered that a little bit, and we'll probably come back to it.
He was so impressive. What I would say about Jalen Hurts is that in the previous Super Bowl, he was phenomenal. In the championship game this year, he played flawless. It really is in the games that matter most. Jalen Hurts seems to excel, and absolutely, yes, he will need to show that again to beat the Chiefs this Sunday.
Mickey McVeigh saying Eagles equal our man. No one likes us, and they're going for the second win. I'll say about that, Mickey. Say the crack. Gavin McVeigh in Galway. Good Chinese in Galway, boys. Good Chinese.
Good stuff. What you order there?
Tyrone referee is in Herson's from Galway.
What's your order in the Chinese?
Half and half. Sweet and sour sauce, half and half, top and bottom.
Good stuff.
Half.
The start of the food content for the week.
What's a half?
What do you mean? What's a half and half? Are you actually taking the piss?
It hasn't made it to Cork yet.
Oh my! Half chips, half rice. Are you actually being serious?
Do you have a 3-in-1?
Here.
Do you have a 3-in-1?
No, I don't 3-in-1. Right. It's the same. Right. Gavin said, "Who is the best man manager between Bill Belichick and Andy Reid?" Oh jeez, we'll be here all day for that.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, 100%. Bill Belichick.
Andy Reid's coming very close to
yeah, that's what's
if he keeps going.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think the players who play for Andy Reid probably like him more. He's more likeable. But
no, but the question was man manageable or man manager. So it's like Belichick's way of getting it done wasn't attractive, but he managed the players in the room so well that nothing got out.
And they can deal with
less
big
personality.
characters.
Yeah, less personalities. Exactly. Yeah.
Final questions from Collie in Dublin. Shout out Collie. Are you looking for staff or contributors for the off season next season? There'll be more about that during the season, during the off season. And yeah, that's us for today. We've made it through the first day of Radio Row. We are going to open a night now, presented by Verizon.
We will be back just before you get in. I think we're going to be back at the same time each day, but we were kind of saying we might have to move some of the days around, which is not what we planned, because we would love to have it at 9 o'clock.
There's stuff going on.
Can
we just say that?
Yeah,
not get in trouble. Yeah. There's stuff going on. There's going to be days where we'll try and go to about 9. I think tomorrow.
Today was 9:15 because we just thought we actually have to head off now, so we were running out the door. And sorry, I'm waffling now. I knew we had to get off.
Even though Michael has to edit this podcast very quickly. Yes, we're on.
It's 10 o'clock, so it's like we brought it forward that 15 minutes. Sorry if you missed the 15 minutes or whatever. We can catch you up. We're going to try and be as close to 9 o'clock as we can, but we know already we're probably going to have to change some of that around based on press conference, because we've actually missed. Can you believe this? We've missed the Roger Goodell press conference today because it was clashing with this now.
I mean, nothing was brought up anyway. It's all good. Look, everyone get to the Leba. Got a big week ahead. We are going to go to the Superdome, or the Silver Dome, as Jason's calling it.
Any questions for those players for tonight? Please get them into me, and I'll try my best.
DM Hogan NFL if you can, if you're watching this live. But more so, we'll put a link out in the morning for questions tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got Sam Monson joining us tomorrow, and we're going to have maybe another guest as well. Big thanks, Charlie, for coming on. We will see you folks tomorrow morning. Keep it up. God bless. Good night.